When a property's vacant, there's a lot of stress. Landlords are stressed. There's a lot of pressure on property management teams. What advice have you got for property managers and property management businesses to assist them with the landlords through this time?
Yeah, definitely a high stressful period because the property's vacant, income's not coming in. The majority of owners actually have a mortgage. But the solution is really simple, and it comes down to communication. And particularly when a property is vacant is when you've got to increase that communication.
Yeah.
And that could be daily communication. In talking about communication integrated with technology, I'm seeing a lot of property management businesses taking the communication to the next level. They'll have an open house, and following the open house, whether they're inside the property or they're sitting in the car, they will literally pick up their iPhone and do a video, whether it's a normal video, whether it's Skype or
FaceTime, the owners.
Whatever it may be. And they'll just say, "Hi, Mrs. Smith. Hope you're having a great weekend. Debbie from PPM Real Estate." Actually, she knows I'm from PPM Real Estate, but we will keep going.
Yep.
Just touching base to let you know, we had 15 groups through the property, and I'm really confident that we'll get 4 or 5 applications. Just wanted to have a quick touch base, give you an update, and I'll give you a call next week.
Yep.
Now. Yep.
But are you seeing, but that's easy to do when you've had 15 groups through, but what happens when you have no one go through? And that's where I see the communication seems to drop, because it's like, I don't want to ring Damien because I'm scared that he's going to get upset that I had no one show up to my property on the weekend. Yeah,
that's a really good question, and I think it happens on a number of properties. But it comes back to, and one of my favourite stories, and anyone that's been to my workshops and conferences will know the story about eating your toad and my procrastination pills, is you've just got to present the facts. And the longer you put it off and the longer you don't ring Mrs. Smith, the more stressed you're going to get. And I would just be going back, well, my message would be, "Hi, Mrs. Smith, it's Deb. I've just done the open house. Was a little bit disappointed that we didn't have any groups through. I think we need to sit down and look at the marketing and the advertising and the rent. Because once again, a property does not rent or attract inquiry for 2 reasons. Rent to market, price to market, and advertising. Now, if you're not getting inquiry and if you're not getting anyone through the property, you have one of those 2 things wrong. Now, property managers might like to challenge and debate on that, but at the end of the day, people are out there renting. You can have, there's an exception to the rule.
But
yeah, like if it's like a huge oversupply of properties. So communication, definitely. So you've brought in a couple of different topics there. The first one is property's vacant. We need to increase our communication. The second one is don't avoid the hard telephone calls.
Yeah.
You've got to face it. And also I think property managers take some of their role too personally. Just simple little things, like if the carpets are getting really worn and they've got to be replaced, the property manager feels bad about that because they think it's their fault that the carpet has to be replaced. But you just state the facts that it's wear and tear. You state the facts that we've advertised it and this is a price and we've got to look at adjusting it so we can generate more inquiry. So communication is the key. As I said, the introduction of face-to-face video, and a lot of agents need to be cautious of this. With the emergence of technology and the changes in the way we communicate, if you don't keep up with that, it's going to start becoming an expectation. And a good example of that is if you remember the old days where the banks, we had to turn up with $20,000 or $30,000 on a Friday and wait for half an hour. Yep. And they didn't have online banking. And then overnight, all of a sudden they had online banking. So would you go and sign up to a bank that said, the only way you can do business with us is over the telephone or walk into our office? Yep. And that's where we are at in property management, is more and more landlords are experiencing access to live portals and information. They're experiencing the improved personal communication. And once they experience that, they're not going to turn back. It now becomes an expectation. Yep. So with communication also, when, why, and what do we communicate? And my recommendation would be communicate every day, like that.
As a minimum.
Yeah, and that's why I think you need to have this is if you want to be a standout agency that is a market leader commanding above average management fees, because as you said, it's a high stress period. So I would be giving them feedback. That's the other thing when you're doing a prospective tenant inspection, you've got to ask them the questions. How does this property compare to other properties that you've had a look at? And write it down. Or is this the type of property that you're looking for? Do you have any feedback, constructive feedback I can give to the landlord? And then on the Monday I say, well, I got this feedback from the tenant. And then the next day I can say, look, we've got 3 applications through. The next day you could send them a report of, this is how many online inquiries we've got. But a lot of these can just be quick 30-second to 1-minute emails. Yep. But it's a touch base and communication that the landlords really want from us.